Women's basketball is in a strange, fascinating moment right now. The NWNBA is waiting on a new collective bargaining agreement. There's no firm date on when the next season tips off, and yet the top players in the world are not sitting around. They've all flocked to Miami because while the business side stalls, Unrivaled has quietly become the place where the elite stay sharp, test themselves, and keep their names buzzing. That's the backdrop for everything happening in this league right now. With negotiations still going on between the Players Union and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the official WNBA calendar on pause, Unrivaled has stepped into the gap as a kind of unofficial preseason. It's 3v3 played at a ridiculous tempo, games packed with stars who don't want to waste months just running solo workouts. If you want to see who's really locked in during this CBA limbo, you look at Miami. Season 1 of Unrivaled did exactly what it needed to do. It proved this wasn't just a gimmick. Team Rose, built around Angel Reese and Chelsea Gray, took the first championship and gave the league instant credibility. Reese brought the physicality, the rebounding, the defense that made her a force at every level. Gray, with that calm, ruthless point guard energy, ran the show and closed games in a way only she can. Together, they set the standard and gave Unrivaled a real identity, physical, competitive, and unapologetically high level. Riding that success, the league didn't stay conservative, it grew. This year, Unrivaled expanded from 6 to 8 teams, adding new franchises like Hive and Breeze and beefing up rosters. That meant more players, more combinations, more chances for young stars to bump elbows with established names. It also meant more pressure. When you go bigger, the product has to keep up. And the face of that new chapter almost immediately became Paige Bueckers. Bueckers, fresh off being named WNBA Rookie of the Year, landed at the center of Team Breeze. On paper alone, that was a massive pickup. She already had the college resume, the fan following, the social media presence. Now, with the WNBA schedule in flux, she's using this league as her proving ground. From the opening tip of this season of Unrivaled, the ball has found her hands, and the league has been revolving around what she does with it. One game in particular has already turned into a touchstone for this second season. Breeze versus the defending champions, Team Rose. It was circled as soon as the schedule came out. The reigning champs against the new headliner. Paige Bueckers on one side, Chelsea Gray on the other. Old guard meets new wave. If you care about where the women's game is heading, this was one you had to lock in for. The matchup delivered. Team Rose edged out Breeze 73-69 in what turned into a high-level chess match more than a track meet. But if you zoom in, it was also a duel between two point guards approaching the game from different stages of their careers. Chelsea Gray, who'd already trained with Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark at Team USA camp in Durham just a month earlier, decided this was not the night to pass the torch quietly. She put on a show. Gray finished that game with 37 points and 7 threes, numbers that look like something out of a video game in a 3v3 environment. Every time Breeze made a push, it felt like she had an answer. A pull-up three, a bully drive, a read out of the pick and roll that turned into points. You got the full point guard experience, that mix of scoring aggression and surgical decision-making that have defined her WNBA career and made her one of the most feared closers in the sport. On the other side, Paige Bueckers didn't shrink from the moment. She ran Team Breeze with a composure that didn't feel anything like a second-year pro. When you look at her final line, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, it jumps out at you immediately. In a short, intense 3v3 game, that kind of stat line is absurd. She controlled tempo, crashed the glass, found teammates all over the floor. At times, it looked like the entire court bent around her decisions. And yet, there was that tiny bit of frustration when the buzzer sounded. She finished just 1 rebound and 1 assist shy of what would have been the first triple-double in Unrivaled history. That's the kind of thing that sticks with a player like her. The 4 turnovers on the night were really the only clear blemish in an otherwise complete performance. You could tell from her body language that she knew how close she had come, not just to making history, but to dragging her team over the line. What makes that near miss even more interesting is that it wasn't an isolated chase. The day before, Kelsey Plum almost tore up the record books herself. Running the offense for Phantom BC, Plum went off for 38 points and 11 assists, and like Bueckers, ended up just 2 rebounds short of a triple-double. For a moment, it looked like she might be the one to grab that first-ever label. Her 38 stood as the league's single-game scoring record for about a day. Then, Dearica Hanby reminded everyone that this league is full of players who can take over. Playing for Team Vinyl, she dropped 40 points the very next day, snatching that scoring record away and setting a new standard. In the span of 3 days, Unrivaled saw back-to-back-to-back performances that in another context would have each dominated headlines on their own. Plum flirting with a triple-double at 38 and 11, Hamby hitting 40, and Bueckers nearly authoring the first official triple-double in league history while going possession for possession with Chelsea Gray. All of that tells you something important about where the level of competition is right now. This isn't a casual pickup run. Players are clearly using Unrivaled to test the outer edges of their games, experiment under pressure, and stay battle-ready while the WNBA calendar is on hold. The shot-making, the usage, the intensity, it's all there. But as this season has gone on, one reality has become more and more obvious. Among all that talent on the floor in Miami, Paige Bueckers is the central figure. The spotlight just keeps drifting back to her. Part of that is game performance. Part of it is the pre-existing fan base she built at UConn and carried into the pros. And part of it is timing. In this particular moment, she's the one in Unrivaled who has that combination of on-court production and off-court magnetism that pulls in casual viewers.
That spotlight has only gotten brighter because two other massive names are not there. Caitlin Clark, for the second straight year, has chosen not to participate in Unrivaled at all. For a league trying to position itself as the destination for elite women's basketball before the WNBA tips off, her absence is huge. Clark is, right now, the single most visible figure in the sport. When she plays, ratings jump. When she walks into any arena, tickets move. So not having her in Miami again leaves a very noticeable gap in the superstar narrative. You can understand her decision, though. Clark has a lot on her plate, rehabbing nagging injuries, preparing for another WNBA campaign, managing a huge endorsement portfolio, and carrying the weight of all the attention that follows her around. There's only so much competitive mileage you can put on your body in 1 year. With the WNBA's new CBA raising compensation and improving revenue sharing, the incentive to risk fatigue or injury inside leagues has dropped for top-tier players like her. When your main league and your brand commitments are that valuable, you pick your spots carefully. The other big absence hits Unrivaled even closer to home because she was one of the original pillars of the league, Angel Reese. Last season, Reese didn't just show up in Miami, she owned it. She helped lead Team Rose to the championship and grab Defensive Player of the Year honors along the way. Her energy, her rebounding, her physical presence, and yes, her personality were a massive part of why that first season felt legitimate. She came in as Angel Reese, the college sensation and WNBA newcomer, and left as one of the defining faces of Unrivaled. This year, she's watching from the sideline. After a grueling campaign with the Chicago Sky that ended early because of injury, Reese has chosen to sit out and focus on her mental and physical recovery. It's a decision that says a lot about how much the women's game is shifted. A few years ago, many players felt they had no choice but to play year-round just to secure their finances. Now you have someone like Reese, coming off a breakout stretch, willing to step back and say, "My body and my mind come first." That's a big change in player empowerment. For the league, though, losing both that championship presence and her personality hurts. No Angel Reese, no Caitlin Clark, that's two of the sport's biggest modern names missing at the same time. In a smaller competition like Unrivaled, that kind of talent drain is going to be felt no matter how deep the overall pool is. It's within that vacuum that Paige Bueckers has stepped fully into the role of centerpiece. She didn't ask for Caitlin and Angel to skip Unrivaled, but she has absolutely taken advantage of the extra oxygen in the room. Every highlight package seems to feature her. Every marquee matchup is framed around what she does. Younger fans who discovered her in college are now seeing her run with and against the pros in a condensed, televised format. For her personal brand and development, Unrivaled has become the perfect stage. At the same time, you can't ignore what this dynamic says about the broader ecosystem of women's basketball. You've got this league in Miami functioning as a high-level training ground while the WNBA waits on the CBA. You've got stars making selective decisions about where they expend their energy. You've got media and fans following certain names across all platforms, whether they're playing 5-on-5, 3-on-3, or just dropping lifestyle content on social media.
Unrivaled has carved out a niche as premier prep for WNBA players, and that's valuable. It keeps players in shape, gives coaches and scouts extra film, and offers fans access to meaningful games when they'd otherwise be in a dead zone waiting for the season. But as this second year unfolds, it's also highlighting something deeper. No matter how creative the format or how strong the underlying concept, leagues live and die on star power. Right now, Paige Bueckers is making sure Unrivaled has a star. Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Darica Hamby, and others are doing their part to raise the level and write crazy stat lines into the record books. The competition is real. The product is entertaining. The question going forward is whether that mix will be enough if huge names like Clark and Reese continue to keep their distance. For the moment, though, if you're a fan who wants to see where the women's game is heading next, Unrivaled in Miami is where a lot of the action is. It's where Paige is working through reps and almost dropping historic triple-doubles. It's where veterans are testing their games against the next generation. It's where the gap between today's WNBA and tomorrow's looks a little bit thinner, even as everyone waits for the CBA news that will ultimately shape the next era. Until that deal is signed and the WNBA calendar is set, this is the stage. And as long as that's true, what happens with Paige Bueckers, what we see from players like Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum, and what choices stars like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark make about joining or skipping this league